London is a city that refuses to die. The River Thames flows like a silver spine, carrying traders, soldiers, pilgrims, and thieves for 2,000 years. The Romans called it Londinium and built walls, but fire, flood, plague, and war could never end it. London always bends and then rebuilds. Step by step, we walk past the last Roman wall into narrow lanes, where taverns lean like old men. Above us rises St. Paul's, cathedral rebuilt after the Great Fire of 1666, when sparks burned the city for 4 days and Christopher Wren designed a dome that would shine as a lantern over the ashes. Then to the Tower of London, a fortress, a prison, and a place of legend, where the ravens are kept as guardians because the myth says if they ever leave, the kingdom will fall. Beneath our feet, hidden rivers still run the fleet, the Tyburn, the Walbrook trapped in brick, but sometimes you hear them breathe through the grates at night. The alleys of Whitechapel whisper of fog and fear where unanswered. Crimes became eternal legends. Then the Blitz, when sirens wailed and the sky burned like paper, while Londoners hid in tunnels and climbed back up to rebuild again. This is the secret of London, layers of history stacked like books. Roman temples under banks, plague pits. Beneath playgrounds, Tudor beams inside modern cafes. Across bridges, the river tells it again. Rise, fall, rebuild, while the bells of Bow and Big Ben argue with each other. In this journey, we will follow myths that never die, the cursed jewels, the haunted theaters, the black-winged ravens, and the rivers that roar without a sky. Tonight we begin where the legends wear armor inside the Tower of London as the lock turns. The past steps forward and the city clears its throat to speak. The Tower of London is more than stone, it is a theater of power, fear, and myth. The walls have heard confessions of kings and screams of traitors. Step inside and the ravens are waiting, black wings against gray sky. Legend says if they ever leave, the kingdom will fall. So their wings are clipped and their meals are carefully given every day, yet people still whisper that these birds see what men cannot, that they know when a monarch will die or when a curse is near. The tower holds the crown jewels, glittering symbols of authority, but with them comes a shadow, for every jewel has a curse. It is said the Koh-i-Noor diamond carries misfortune for any man who wears it, so in Britain it is only placed on the crowns of queens. Prisoners once feared the bloody tower where the young princes disappeared, their fate still argued by historians and their ghosts said to cry on stormy nights. The Traitor's Gate once brought prisoners by boat through the Thames. Beneath stone arches, wet and cold, their last view of the sky before the axe or the noose. Even Anne Boleyn, the queen who lost her head, is said to walk here, her body buried in the chapel within the tower, her spirit searching for peace. This fortress is not just a museum, it is a book written in blood iron and silence, and in every corner a raven watches as if keeping the past alive. Beneath the streets of modern London flows another city unseen, a city of water and whispers known as the Lost Rivers. Long ago the Thames had children, the Fleet, the Tyburn, the Walbrook, the Westbourne, the Effra, and others, each carrying life through fields and markets. But as London grew, the rivers became dirty with waste and disease, and so the city buried them, brick by brick, turning streams into sewers and memories into myths. The Fleet, once wide enough for boats, now growls beneath railway lines, its voice echoing in the tunnels near King's Cross. The Tyburn once flowed through green fields of deer, now it hides under Mayfair, its path marked only by drains and shadows. The Walbrook, which once fed the Roman temple of Mithras, now lies trapped under bank vaults, a sacred stream turned into a prisoner of stone. The Westbourne still crosses Hyde Park, but inside an iron pipe where people walk, above not knowing a river runs under their feet. And the Effra once joined the Thames near Vauxhall, but today you only hear it through storm drains when rain is heavy. Yet legends say on quiet nights the lost rivers still breathe through the grates of London, the smell of wet earth rising from below. Some believe they carry spirits of the past, angry at being trapped. Others say they are veins of the city keeping London alive even in silence. Walk the streets carefully, for sometimes beneath the pavement you may hear a rush of water that does not belong to the modern pipes, but to an ancient river still dreaming of the sky. In the heart of London there is a district where fog once thickened the air and fear sharpened every footstep. Whitechapel in the late 19th century was a place of narrow alleys, gas lamps, and restless shadows. It was here that an unknown figure stepped into history, a name that still makes the city shiver: Jack the Ripper. In 1888, a series of murders shocked London, women found brutally killed in the darkness of Whitechapel streets. Newspapers screamed with headlines, and the world learned a new word: terror. The police of Scotland Yard hunted day and night, but the killer was always one step ahead, disappearing into fog and silence. Suspects were many, a doctor, a butcher, even royalty, but none ever proven. The mystery itself became the legend. The fear of the people turned to fascination and then to myth. Guides still walk visitors through Whitechapel, pointing at bricks that remember screams and at corners where shadows never leave. The unsolved crimes remain like open wounds because unanswered. Questions never grow old. In London, legends are often built not on answers but on silence. And Jack the Ripper remains the loudest silence of them all. In September 1940, the sky over London turned into fire. The German Luftwaffe unleashed wave after wave of bombers, and the city entered a nightmare that lasted for months. This was the Blitz, and London was its stage. Every night sirens screamed, searchlights cut the dark, and families rushed underground into tube stations clutching blankets and tea tins while above their houses shook under falling bombs. St. Paul's Cathedral stood like a ghost in the smoke, refusing to fall, its dome glowing through flames. As a symbol of defiance, the River Thames burned with oil and sparks drifted across bridges. Whole streets collapsed, leaving craters where children once played. Yet even as rubble piled high, London refused to break. The buses kept running, the shops reopened in the morning, and Churchill's voice growled that the city would never surrender. The Blitz killed thousands, but it also forged a legend of endurance. A myth that London could face the worst night and still rise at dawn. In every cracked brick and scarred wall, the memory of fire still lives, reminding the world that this city, though burned, will always rebuild. London is not a city built once, it is a city built again and again. On top of itself, layer after layer, century after century. Walk down a modern street and you are walking on bones of Romans, Normans, Tudors, and Victorians. Beneath the Bank of England lies the Roman Temple of Mithras, where once fires burned for a forgotten god. Children play football above plague pits where thousands were buried during the Black Death, their names unknown but their presence eternal. In pubs and cafes, you can still see timber beams black with smoke beams that once held up Tudor houses now supporting Wi-Fi and neon. The underground itself is a layer where tunnels weave through sewers and old crypts, carrying millions of lives each day. While ghosts are said to ride the last train, London's museums hold artifacts pulled straight from the earth, shards of pottery, coins, weapons, reminders that every new building is dug into another era. Sometimes construction workers find skulls or walls or whole Roman roads, and the city pauses to take note before building right on top again. This is London's secret. It never erases, it only stacks and stacks so that every brick, every step, every street holds another story beneath. A city where the past is not gone but buried, waiting for those who listen closely. London is not just a city, it is a living legend. Every stone, every shadow, every river carries a story that refuses to die. It has burned, it has drowned, it has starved, and it has been bombed. But always it rises again. The tower still stands with ravens guarding the crowned saint. Paul still shines against fire and fog the lost. Rivers still breathe beneath the streets, and Whitechapel still whispers of crimes unanswered. This is the secret of London. It is a city made of survival, a city that holds its scars proudly like medals of war. People come from every corner of the world to walk its bridges and sit in its pubs, not knowing they are sitting on bones of kings and peasants side by side. London teaches us that history is not gone, it only sleeps under our feet, waiting for us to listen. So when the bells of Big Ben strike at midnight, remember, they do not ring only for the hour, they ring for 2,000 years of struggle and triumph, for blood, tears, and laughter. And as the fog curls across the Thames and the ravens call above the tower, the legend of London continues, not as a story finished, but as a story still being written.